AskReddit buyer poster bears. How did a business permanently lose you as a customer? Direct. They let you buy any movie or channel package online or with a remote, but if you want to cancel something you have to call into their 1-800 number. After sitting on hold forever and then having to sit through a bunch of offers on other channels and packages, I just cut the cord. Auto Trader online. Bought a car out of state and they never transported it. They also never handled the paperwork. Seller and I had to do it all ourselves. Weeks of phone calls with Auto Trader ending in, "We promise, doing that now, just shipped, you should hear from them within X hours, 2 months, nothing. Never again Auto Trader. I don't believe your lies." Thank goodness seller was a decent human. I listed my car with them and got nothing but attempted scams. No, I'm not going to ship the car with your excess payment. That scam is well known. The one with the fake website offering VIN reports isn't as well known, but pretty damned obvious. So no, I'm not going to enter account info there. It was $50 down the crapper. The $5 one on Craigslist worked much better. I ordered carry-out from a French restaurant in Pittsburgh early in the pandemic. The order was around $120. I gave them my PayPal debit card number. When I got to the restaurant, I added a bottle of water, which changed the amount I owed to, say, $127. So they processed the 2 orders, for a total of $247, which I did not realize until sometime the next week. It took over a month to get my first $120 returned to me. The owner of the shop could not have been any nastier, saying it was my fault. Never have I ever gone back there. What? That's just bullshit. I had a flower shop and if something like that happened at my place, I'd be bending over backwards to get it fixed for the customer. I don't understand how they think that kind of thinking is good for business. Vivid seats. I purchased a floor ticket for a concert and was sent a mezzanine, 2nd floor, ticket and unfortunately didn't notice till I got to the concert. Obviously floor tickets were way more expensive than the ticket I received. Vivid Seats refused to refund me because the seller fulfilled my order. Apparently doesn't matter if you don't get what you pay for. I filed a chargeback with my credit card and just found out this morning that I won. I won't ever be using them again. Customer service was horrible. Yeah, I bought tickets from them and then everything was cancelled due to COVID. No refund. A class action has been filed about this, so I'm hoping to get my $sign back at some point. Glassdoor. They're fucked. Make you leave a review to read reviews. On top of that, they delete reviews posted by employees. I just want to know if the company I'm applying for is a hellhole. That's it. Deleted. Last time I went to Panera it was $40 for 2 of us. My soup had no solids in it, my sandwich had a pitiful amount of ingredients, the employees were rude AF as if we inconvenienced them by walking in the door. Never again, Panera. I'll never go there again because they almost killed me with a bacon turkey bravo. Food poisoning so bad I thought I was going to die, and was too sick to call for help if I did. I called the manager to report and he threatened to sue me for slander and libel. Back in the day I wanted to buy the Chrono Trigger port for DS, so I went to the local mom and pop game store. When I asked for it, the clerk laughed at me for even asking it because there's no way I would find one in town without a pre-order. Left that store and went to Walmart and they were fully stocked. I went back and showed it to him and told him he's an idiot and that he had lost a customer for treating me like an idiot. I went to a record store, last one in my town, to see if they had the promotional Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 1 tape from when the first movie came out. The guy absolutely berated me, yelling about how it was a stupid gimmick, no one should want something like that, and how dare I insult him, his shop, his livelihood that way. Bro, a simple no, we don't have that, sorry would have been sufficient. Never went back, and told everyone I know. Hurts. for claiming their cars were stolen and then getting warrants placed on said car renters. When my car had the hood replaced under warranty, the dealer gave me a rental through the local enterprise office. I guess they scheduled 3 days but the work took 10 days, so when I finally returned the rental, enterprise said, "Oh yeah, we were wondering when you'd return." I could have had that car on a ship to China and no one would have said anything. Target stopped me at the door BC. They thought they saw me putting products in my pocket. Knowing there was nothing whatsoever in my pockets, I let them do the whole rigmarole before turning my pockets and revealing I was putting my fucking cell phone back in my pocket. People have fucking pockets. You don't need to accuse people loudly, in front of other guests, unless you're absolutely sure. Can't they get in trouble for stopping and falsely accusing someone of theft? Kroger recently got accused of shoplifting while using the self-scan checkout when a bag of tortilla chips wouldn't ring up. I pressed the assistance needed option to ask for help to ring it up and the employee came over. Instead of just looking up the item for me, they sat for 5 minutes watching the video recording from the self-scan, then asked me, "So you're playing games, huh?" "Yes, I called you over specifically to help bring up an item I wanted to steal." Kroger, never again. Sorry, but this made me laugh pretty hard. Sounds like something that would be on a Key and Amp Peel skit. Me and my partner used to go to this one diner all the time before we moved. Really good food and good service. After moving back to the area, we decided to get a meal. We were seated and then waited. A random busboy saw us looking not served, so he brought us water. We saw one waitress and she was on the phone. After a couple more minutes, the same busboy saw us looking confused and told us that the woman on the phone was our waitress. We were like, "Oh, okay." After a couple more minutes, the busboy went over to the waitress and we heard him tell her that she had customers. 5 more minutes went by. She didn't even glance in our direction, and we got up and left. Since then we've never felt like going back, and we used to eat there all the time. Bless that busboy's heart, he tried, lol. Wells Fargo. They held the mortgage on our house. We had paid on time, every time, for many years. I lost my job, wife stayed employed, continued to pay uninterrupted for those 8 months. New job was 25% increase over previous job and was in the same field. About 3 months after I got my new job, the interest rates dropped, and we decided to refinance. They would not refinance us because I did not have at least 6 months of steady employment. They already held the loan. I made more money than ever before. Both my wife and I were employed. I had about 50% equity. Our retirement accounts were enough to pay off the house 8x over, and they would not work with us. We left for a credit union. When we called to get the payoff amount for the refee, they tried to keep our business. Screw 'em. Never again. Rent-A-Car has the most insane policies ever, and people with the mental capacity of a saltine cracker working in the customer service department. Never again. I'll walk to exporting goods and buy myself a pair of skates to get where I want to go before ever renting a car from them again. I rented a car from them back in December. I wanted to extend my rental, so I tried calling the customer service line. The main line couldn't assist, and I was unable to reach the pickup location directly. I had to drive over an hour to the location to secure the car and extra day. The following day, while I was driving to return the car, their customer service line called, accusing me of auto theft. It was a lot of fun when I returned to the airport with all paperwork in hand showing I had extended the rental. I owned a 2000 Dodge Caravan. Dodge will never get another dime of my money. I'm a mechanic. Anything Mopper is absolutely trash. They make up most of my daily repairs with Ford a close second. AAA. I lived in Michigan and was driving with my 2 young kids in northern Ohio. We drove through a construction zone and wound up getting 2 flat tires at the same time. Called AAA. Sorry, you're out of state. We can't help you. This was before smartphones. It was below zero outside. They wouldn't even call a tow truck for me. A very kind Ohio highway patrolman stopped and took care of us. AAA kept hanging up on me when I called for flat assistance. The jerk who took calls didn't want to deal with it. "Oh, it's you," hangs up. My partner had to call on his phone, and before he said the issue he demanded a manager, explained the situation, and they finally sent a truck out. Didn't renew my coverage. Metronet came to my area. Fuck you, Spectrum. I have new fiber being laid in my neighborhood. Can't wait to call and cancel my Spectrum. Got an impromptu craving for ice cream, so turned into DQ. Took forever, and then when I was at the window I watched my ice cream sitting there melting while the manager was straight up berating and cursing the other employees out. No thank you. That would have had me searching online for who owns that location and reporting it. They might do nothing, but I'd feel better. Banks are awful. I quit one in college because they lined up the order of transactions from a period of more than a week, so that the biggest one, which came last in real time, hit first, and all of the others caused overdraft fees. For going under by a few dollars, I was charged about $500 in fees, which I absolutely never would have, and had to get my parents to help. That was a lot of money for them too, and it was a horrible experience. Years later, I'd opened a forever free account with a different bank. And for years, there weren't any problems. But one day, I had a large charge hit that made no sense, and when I asked about it, I was told that it was because I went below $10,000. Now, that was completely absurd on its face regardless, but when I pointed out that my account was free, they insisted it wasn't. So thankfully I'd kept the original paperwork with my checkbook and brought it to the manager. They insisted that no one had any knowledge or memory of the type of account, but refunded me the money, and I quickly closed all of my accounts with them and moved to the local credit union, where I've been ever since. As a young man, I took out a Progressive insurance policy over the phone when I purchased a used car. A month later they raised my rates quite a bit because my previous car insurance wasn't in my name. I switched insurance carriers to someone that offered more reasonable rates, so Progressive sent me to collections saying that I had made a 6-month obligation to be insured through them. That wasn't disclosed to me over the phone, and I never told them that I had insurance in my name previously. I challenged with the bureaus and won, but to this day I still won't fuck with Progressive. Progressive lied to the state of Florida about my husband's insurance status, and his license got suspended, and we had no idea until we went to do something with his registration. Fuck them. T-Mobile deleted voicemails from my deceased mom and wouldn't recover them for me. Recently lost my voicemails from my mom and dad, who are no longer here. I still have a video of my mom laughing at a dirty joke. At least it's something. Luckily, for my dad, my sister still had some way he said I love you, and I downloaded them as a MP3 file to my PC. A Quiznos manager aggressively hit on my wife. If Quiznos would come back to my town, I'd whore my husband out to them. He would understand. JCPenney's. My fiancé ordered me a sapphire necklace for an anniversary present a few years ago. They accidentally shipped 2 bras instead of the necklace. I contacted customer service, thinking I'd just ship back the bras and they could resend my necklace. Nope. They refused to send me a prepaid shipping label. They refused to resend me a new necklace, even though I provided proof we got the wrong order. They also refused to refund my fiancé. They told me they wouldn't refund us unless we drove an hour, each way, to the store to return it in person or pay ourselves to ship it back. Could we have done either? Absolutely, but it was a matter of principle. I as the customer refused to be inconvenienced because someone else fucked up. Some braless woman has a lovely sapphire necklace. Local payroll company I used when I started my business. Constant mistakes, extremely unprofessional. The final straw was when they paid the wrong person. They paid someone who hadn't worked for me for 2 years. When I pointed out the mistake, they wanted me to give them more money to pay the right person. I was pissed. I paid her directly and that was the last payroll we ever did with them. Not my story, but when I was working at Taco Bell, a man called us to say that we didn't add sour cream to his item. He said, "You mark this day on your calendar because I am never coming back." Taco Bell has never recovered from him leaving. RIP. I like to imagine every year to the day that Taco Bell has a mandatory moment of silence. Today's the 15th of August, the day we lost Greg Sanderson as a customer. Avish. I worked for Avish as a car cleaner for a short time. I will never rent from them because they treated the employees very poorly. Also, what the hell do you car renters do to the Grand Prix cars? They were offered as a free upgrade back then and every single one came back looking like they were filled with slobbering, shedding golden retrievers and then taken on a road rally race through a cornfield with a break to let the dogs kill a deer in a swamp. Didn't honor my warranty after they said my pocket camera was full of beach sand. Never been to the beach, you fuckers. If your camera can't handle pocket lint, it's your fucking problem. Fuck you, Sony. Local pizza place near my house. They have a 13-year-old working the front. Got pizza from them regularly for a few months. Then 5 times in a row my order was messed up because the kid entered the wrong info from the website. Last time it happened, I arrived just on time for my pizza to be ready. They said they just put it in the oven. 15 minutes pass and they hand me a box with a burnt ass Sicilian pizza in it, saying they are sorry. I didn't order Sicilian. They scraped a bunch of slices from the counter up into a box and gave it to me, along with the Sicilian. The burnt ass Sicilian was better than the decrepit counter slices. Glad I quit going there too. There's a shop even closer that I found that has the best pizza I've ever had. Actually waiting on one from them right now. Deleted. When the Utah legislature was considering raising the alcohol limit of beer for sale on tap and in grocery stores to be in line with the rest of the country, Red Rock Brewing spoke out against the increase. The owner essentially said his patrons couldn't be trusted with the increase and would overconsume if the limit was raised from 3.2% ABW to 5% ABV. This brewery had multiple bottles beers well above that, 8-10% ABV. Since I can't be trusted to understand how much I can drink, he can't be trusted with my money anymore. Red Rock had some great beers but I avoid them specifically because their owner is a complete idiot. In Arkansas, there was a ballot measure making a dry county wet until liquor stores on the county line spoke out against it because something increase in drunk drivers. The measure failed that time but it passed during the next election. One of the stores ended up going out of business a year or so later and I gladly bought their discounted liquor a week before they closed. Walmart harassed me over a receipt. I showed them the receipt but that wasn't enough for them. They wanted to go down the freaking list, check every item and waste my damn time. I told them to fuck off and never went back. I don't like shopping at stores that assume every customer is a thief. I always thought that stuff was funny because you can ignore every word from their mouth and walk out. Legally they cannot stop or detain you. The employee's looks on their face are like you just killed Walmart's baby. And I don't give two fucks. Went to have dinner with my wife at a restaurant I'd been going to since I was a little kid. Finished dinner, ordered soft serve cones. Took one bite of my cone and it was sour. Went up to the counter and told the employee that I think the ice cream was bad, and asked how often they clean the machines. In my state it's required to be cleaned daily. He said I can't remember, probably a couple weeks. I said I'd like a refund because the ice cream tastes bad and he held out his hand to take the cone. I handed it to him and without any hesitation he took a huge bite of it and swallowed, then said tastes fine to me. We left and never went back. Someone's don't give a fuck meter was high that day lol. He definitely knew it tastes sour but didn't want you to be right. I guarantee the minute he walked away, he spat that ice cream in the trash and probably had diarrhea later that night. Either that or he has no taste buds at all. Most recently I stayed at a bed and amp. Breakfast with my wife that we've stayed before. We live close to wine country. We were in a different room than usual and my wife caught a peeping Tom peering through the gap between the blinds and the window just by happening to look at the window at the right time. Really highlighted how insecure the grounds were, and then management didn't give two fucks. We couldn't even get a hold of anyone until almost noon the next day and they pretty much just shrugged and said sucks to be you when we asked if they could do anything to improve security, like an actual lock on the gate, or coverage, like curtains instead of blinds standing 2 inches away from the window. We were at least able to cancel our second night and get that money back, but we didn't get a refund for our sleepless angry terror night of watching the windows for the return of the bastard. Moral of the story is, if you go to Napa, CA don't stay at the Hennessy house. Please leave a review wherever you can about that, if you haven't already. I had a full loyalty card after 10 visits at a poke place. I always ordered the same thing, a large with avocado. The card has no restrictions on it whatsoever, just said that after 10 you get a free meal. I tried to use it on my normal order and was told I couldn't do that, and would be upcharged for the size and add-ins. Mind you, this was already after ordering and it being in my hand. Manager backed it up and refused to comp that whole thing, demanding I pay the difference. I said no, said I'm going to leave with my food now. He said he'd charge me the rest the next time I was in. I went very frequently, so I never went back and took my business to another poke place. Screw them. Edit, it actually said a free bowl, not a meal, so didn't include a drink. Deleted. Went to the same barber for over 5 years. There was heavy construction and traffic everywhere one day as I headed to my appointment. First time I ever ran late. I called saying I would be in late and they said they filled my spot with a walk-in. I understand that they were paid only if they had someone in the chair, but I was barely even late and I called. Worst part is they still charged my card for a no-show. Started cutting my own hair from that day on and saving hundreds. Been over a year since that event. Always gave a generous tip because they knew exactly what I wanted without needing to say it. Can't believe someone would throw 5 years of loyalty out the window. I was 10 minutes late for my hair appointment the day before my wedding. This was a salon my mom frequented, and I was only late because I was picking up the tuxedos for the guys and one wasn't quite ready when I got to the tux rental place. Anyhow, the hairdresser absolutely refused to take me, and no one else there would either. Never went back, nor did my mom. I ended up at a walk-in place worked on by someone who didn't know what she was doing. Ended up combing that mess out and doing my hair myself. Shit show rivaled only by the food poisoning I got the next day. Married 50 years, so it worked out. But what a crappy start. Went to marriage counseling. My wife and I were massively arguing about finances, as married couples are prone to do. Therapist at one point asked me if I had ever thought about trying to make more money. I was so flabbergasted I couldn't even think of a response. But I did think of a way to save some money. Solutions. Once in the past I was struggling to find a job for a while, so I tried to get some job seekers allowance benefit or something. When after hours of filing papers and then waiting for my turn in the queue I finally met the consultant, he looked at my CV, said, "Oh, you worked in a restaurant. Why don't you just go to work in a restaurant?" The guy solved unemployment. If not for the fact that all the other bums that never worked in their lives probably didn't get such treatment. Sometime after this, like a week or two, I found a very crappy job, after which I found a better one few months in. It was really bad these few months, but still better than the treatment I got from the government employee when I struggled for a while. And it's not even like I went to ask for help immediately. Cunts. Walked into a gun store here in town. Before I even said anything, the guy at the counter said, "If you aren't gonna buy anything, I'm not wasting my time showing you anything." Nope. Never been back. I went to a gun store one time because I was told they did or knew someone who did gunsmithing and I needed a slide put on a 1911. Guy said, "Well, it might take a couple of months 'cause his guy was backlogged." I said, "Sure, no problem." Gun store guy said, "But If you don't hear from me in a month, call me and I will push the issue. Sure thing. So I waited a month and a half, called him and just said, hey, you told me to call if I hadn't heard from you. He said yeah, he still hasn't been able to get to it, I will check on it. So I waited 4 more months, called back and said, hey, where are we on this thing? Guy in a snotty attitude, I told you it was gonna take a while. Do you just want me to forget it and get the gun back for you? I told him you told me to call. You told me it was only gonna be a couple of months, it's now been 6. He came back snotty again. Well, do you want me to just get the gun back and you can find someone else to do the work? I told him just get the work done. When it got done I paid and have never went back. Dyson. Because I bought their top of the line cordless vacuum, and its advertised function stopped working after a month, on 3 separate units. I used to be a janitor, and we had Dysons. I will never in my life waste my money on a Dyson. Local restaurant chain I went to several times a week for years. For lunch had put what I ordered on sale. I paid my normal amount and noticed the sale and asked about it. The owner of the chain was there and he went off on me over less than $2. I walked and never went back. They shut that site down less than a year later and I only know of 2 still operating. I accidentally gave a haircutting lady a 0-star rating in a survey instead of 5 for some dumb reason I forgot. I can never go to sport clips again because I'm afraid of them pulling my record. Advanced Auto Parts had sold my dad a battery with a 3-year warranty-free replacement. 13 months later the battery died and was verified defective by Advanced Auto Parts. Because he didn't have a copy of the original receipt, they refused any type warranty. The battery had the date code burned into it and an Advanced Auto Parts label. Advanced Auto Parts purges the purchase information after 1 year. Have not purchased any from Advanced Auto Parts since. Nothing. Never will. That was over 8 years ago. Lost me and my family's business forever. Yay. Always keep a receipt from them. My GF almost had that same issue but had the receipt. Even with the receipt it was a pain. Also, keep them store well because their receipts fade so damn fast. I went to a dentist and they wanted to do some super expensive deep cleaning of my teeth like below the gum line. I said no thanks and they said if you don't want to follow our treatment plan you can't be a patient here, and I was like okay bye. Been going to a new dentist for 3 years. Never had a cavity and never needed any deep cleaning. About 10-12 years ago, I took our dog to the groomer. When I came back to pick him up, I knew I was early so I just took a seat and quietly waited in an adjacent room. I could hear my dog crying, just little whimpers at first, and I thought it's fine, it's just Yogi being his little diva dog self. This went on for about 5 minutes until I heard a cry, like a, I know my dog and holy shit he's not okay cry. Mama bear jumped up to run in there. Mind you, the groomer had no idea I was already there and I could hear everything. And when I did, I heard her yell stop it as she hit my dog with her fist. She hit my fat and damp, ein dog with her fist. I lost it, barged over to the table where I unhooked my boy from the table and stormed out, absolutely livid and feeling the worst guilt in the world for subjecting my dog to that evil bitch. I cried the whole way home, and immediately purchased my own. I have no idea how you did not hit this woman in the face then call the police. Bakery in my street started selling Grandewasser, some German esoterical water. Also started to have flyers against 5G. Getting baked goods in the morning is now a 10-minute walk instead of 3. https://shop.grandewater.co.uk/1-liter-bottle-of-blue-water. Some of the wildest claims I've seen about a bottle of water, but anything to justify a 15-20 euros cost I guess. The Abercrombie and Fitch associate told me they don't make clothes for cancer patients on steroids, only pretty people. Which is funny because their CEO looks like he's allergic to his own face. Papa John's uses DoorDash for delivery drivers around here. The last time I ordered from there, my pizza showed up looking like the driver had it sitting on the side of the box the whole way. It was rolled up on one side of the box with the toppings all over. I called and talked with the manager, and instead of even apologizing, let alone offering to make it right somehow, he told me to take it up with DoorDash because it was not his problem. Even if it truly wasn't his problem and it was entirely out of his hands, the way he essentially told me to fuck off and eat my shitty pizza turned me off to Papa John's forever. I avoid any place that says maybe delivered by DoorDash. It's 50/50 at best. When McDonald's fought so hard to not give sick days during the thick of the pandemic, I vowed to never eat at the Golden Arches again. My roommate had Starlink. We were going to get fiber soon, so we waited until the next payment to cancel it. So he made the payment, then went to get it cancelled. The house had no internet immediately. We waited for the payment because it is for the next month of service. We weren't going to get fiber for a week or two, so the plan was to just switch over seamlessly that month. They can cancel it immediately but apparently could not uncancel it immediately. It's the principle of the thing. They took the payment for the next month and we got all of several minutes of that next month. Of course it's on us for not knowing it was instant, and of course I was crabby to just have no internet because getting internet just couldn't be done in a timely manner. But still. What kind of bullshit is that we got screwed for assuming it would cancel at the end of the month we paid for? In response to my issue, the American Express customer service representative told me that they have to look out for their shareholders. I apparently did not have the money in my account that I swore I had, and the cashier was unbearably mean. I asked if I could have my quarters back and she suspended the transaction, and she huffed at me and was like, well then I guess we need another person. She got on the phone, had an absolute attitude about I guess she needs to check her account for money she thinks she has. I told her to keep my $2 in quarters and go to hell because apparently I was too much of a burden for her to endure. She apparently didn't realize I'd call her out and she got wide-eyed and started to apologize, and I just told her I had enough. And I left. And cried out in my car. The last time something so humiliating had happened to me was in Walmart, and the cashier was an absolute gem and told me we all have days where it's just not working, but come back when you've got it figured out and we'll be here for you. Fuck Maya. I asked the price on some yarn as nothing was marked. She told me if I had to ask, I couldn't afford it. Then asked me to stop fingering her wares. Felt like she was out of a novel, The Rude Shopkeeper. McDonald's. I was coming off of a late shift, 2 AM. The 24-hour McDonald's didn't have any working card readers. I decided this wasn't worth the overpriced McNuggets. It's been 60 days since my last McDonald's and I lost 5 pounds. So yeah, I don't see a reason to go back.